What's happening in Long Island City, Astoria, this area, is there's a placemaking phenomenon going on right now where all of a sudden, based on what we're seeing and hearing, you've been discovered. And there's this huge trend of demand. You've created a way to stimulate demand for your community, and it's real estate, and the results of that are being shown right now. So the real key is you want to become a place that people want to live and people want to make their lifestyle. So the way that you do that is you continue the great efforts that you are doing now in terms of the chamber and all the key stakeholders in the market all coming together for the community benefit. And you're branding your city and your community and your area in a way that's going to placemake it for economic development in the future. So what you have a head start on, and also are blessed to have, is you have this economic development momentum that has hit your community that everybody else around the country who hasn't experienced that is looking for. So what you need to do, but it has to be worked in order to answer your question. You can't just let it grow on its own. It has to be nurtured and fertilized and really coddled by making sure that as you're accepting projects and as you're building new buildings and as you're creating new real estate assets, that there's a plan, a vision, and a story that is getting out to the market that you can continue to capitalize on. Because the key to the future is continuing what you're doing and making it even better in the future, continuous improvement. But if you can somehow create, through your role, Arthur, as the chair and founder of the new chamber, to stay very focused on what's our brand, who are we? We're not all things to all people, but we are very special in what our unique attributes are. And then what you can do is you can continue to translate that into real estate activity and momentum. An example, there may be portions of this area where the housing market is kind of undesirable. People don't want to live in a particular area, but there's other neighborhoods where people want to be. Like, where are you from? I want to be from Astoria versus Hunters Point or wherever the case might be. So what happens is, in a community, you have diverse neighborhood districts that all have unique histories to them, but they all can't be redeveloped at the same time. You have to have a sequence where you make one area strong and get it going, and then based on supply and demand, you go to the next area and you have a strategy and a plan and a vision and a brand. And so what you can do in this community is take what you have, identify the next sequence of logical economic development, and then continue to grow your base, which is good for everybody, by managing that growth in a way that place makes the area, meaning that it becomes this really cool place that people want to live.
We have, in addition to everything else, is a particular geographic aspect of this, which is that we're just across the river from Manhattan, very close, which makes it attractive for residents, commercial development, tourism, all kinds of things that are related to just the physical fact that this Long Island City is the epicenter of all of New York City. If you put a pin in the map, it's right in the center, and all of the transportation systems are all organized around it, and it gives it some sustainability in terms of anything that we want to do and whatever the vision is. But other than that, what would you say would be some of the critical things that we should be thinking about as a community in terms of our position and growth for the future and enhancing the value of the community for the stakeholders, for the homeowners, for the business owners? What are the key points we should be thinking about?
Know your brand. Who are you? And tell your story. Create a great story, which is your specialty. Tell the story of Long Island City, how exciting it is, what's happening here, why the rest of the world or other areas would want to be a part of this. And so that's number one. Number two, you have to have a really close-knit group of collaborative stakeholders, including the bankers, the chamber, the politicians, the business people, the universities, the hospitals, the schools. Everybody needs to be on the same page in terms of creating all the quality of life elements that all work together. And together, what that group of stakeholders does is they create the financial tools that you need to continue to stimulate economic development. Because at the end of the day, you have to have the capital to realize and execute on your vision. And not all the capital can be gotten from banks. You have to have EB-5 financing. You need to have special tax districts. You need to have grants and other funds. So somebody has to work that capital stack on behalf of the private sector in order to create the financial viability to new projects going forward. And then the third thing is you have to be able to support the growth and the economic development with the infrastructure. And so the infrastructure is really key, because without a good infrastructure base, you can't grow. And then the last is, if you can get to your nirvana scenario, is how do you take all of those value creation elements and add one more layer, which is social value creation. How do you create social enterprise? How do you get people who are feeling that they don't have hope and that they really don't know where to go? Give them an ability to start their own business and to become entrepreneurial and to grow their net worth in the future. And how do you also tackle, some of the graduation rates and the other issues by stimulating commerce in your area, or social enterprise? So I think that's the dream scenario, is to take all of the positive things that are happening physically and try and elevate them to a social enterprise and social entrepreneurship level.
David, you're an expert, and it shows. And we really appreciate that. Very good advice.
Thank you very much. It's my
People
pleasure.
will really appreciate hearing what you just said. Thank you so much.
And we would be happy to assist you, Arthur, in whatever way we can in having, one idea is that I'm doing, I'm an adjunct professor from the University of Delaware through 2012, and now I'm doing a new academic platform down at Johns Hopkins. But we do symposia every year through the University of Delaware, and we're planning some through that it's called Placemaking Economic Development Strategies and Social Enterprise. So we could work with you and some of the local colleges to put on a community-based symposium that would bring all the key stakeholders together and talk about how we can create cohesive actions and next steps. So that would be something we'd be happy to work with you on.
You and Charlie will be very happy to hear that our Chamber of Commerce has already built into its platform a lifelong learning and business development center, and we have access to a conference facility, which is a world-class conference facility here in Long Island City. And at this point, even while we're still being recorded, I'd like to just invite you to arrange with us to do a symposium and a seminar at the conference center. It's the Court Square Place Conference Center. So we'll work on the details of that.
We would love that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.